The sky above Earth turned black on the final night of peace. Strange ships moved through the clouds like silent giants. Cities across the world lost power at the same moment. Radios died. Satellites vanished. Every screen became dark. People stood in fear while thunder rolled across the heavens. A woman named Aya stood on the roof of a ruined train station in New Tokyo. Wind pushed against her dark hood while ash fell around her like snow. She held a long sword that once belonged to her father. The blade reflected the burning fires below. Aya had survived the first invasion wave. Millions had not. The enemy came from beyond the stars. Some looked human, while others looked like creatures from forgotten nightmares. Their leader was known only as Varkor. He ruled an empire that had destroyed worlds for centuries. Earth was meant to become another dead planet beneath his shadow. Aya watched robotic soldiers march through the streets below. Their eyes glowed, red in the darkness. Their metal feet crushed broken glass and fallen signs. Behind them came pale creatures with long claws and hollow eyes. The survivors called them Nightborn. A voice echoed from behind Aya. "You should not stand alone." Aya turned. Slowly, a soldier in black armor walked toward her through the smoke. His name was Kael. He once served in the Earth Defense Force before the governments collapsed. He carried a pulse rifle across his shoulder and scars across his face. Aya lowered her. "Blade, I am not alone," she said. Kael looked toward the burning city. "Not for long if we stay here." Aya stepped closer to the edge of the roof. There are still people trapped below. "I heard signals from the underground station." Kael shook his head. "The Nightborn already entered the tunnels. Nobody survives once they move underground." Aya tightened her grip on the sword. "Then we fight underground." Kael stared at her for a moment, before giving a tired smile. "You never stop, do you?" Aya did not answer. She jumped from the roof onto a broken bridge below. Kael cursed quietly before following her. The streets smelled of smoke and blood. Burned vehicles lined the roads like broken skeletons. Fires glowed through shattered windows. Distant screams echoed through empty alleys. Aya moved quickly between ruined buildings. Her boots splashed through rainwater mixed with ash. Kael stayed close while scanning the shadows with his rifle. Suddenly, a robotic soldier stepped from the darkness. Target detected, its weapon charged with blue light. Aya rushed forward before it could fire. Her sword cut through the machine with one swift strike. Sparks exploded into the air. Kael looked impressed. "One day you should teach me that move." Aya kept walking. "One day you should stop talking." Kael laughed quietly. For the first time in weeks, the sound almost felt human. They reached the underground station entrance near midnight. Steel doors hung open while darkness stretched below like an endless mouth. Kael activated a small flashlight. "This place feels wrong." Aya stepped into the shadows. "Because death lives here." The tunnels smelled wet and cold. Water dripped from cracked walls. Old train cars rested silently on broken tracks. Then they heard breathing. Not human breathing. Kael raised his rifle. Movement ahead. Shapes crawled across the ceiling. Nightborn. Their pale skin reflected the flashlight beam. Sharp teeth glistened in the dark. One creature hissed before leaping toward Aya. She spun beneath it and drove her blade upward through its chest. Black blood sprayed across the tunnel walls. Kael opened fire at the others. Blue energy rounds lit the darkness like lightning. More creatures rushed from every direction. Aya moved like a shadow through the chaos. Her blade flashed again and again. Limbs fell. Screams echoed. Kael fought beside her with brutal precision. After several minutes, silence returned. Bodies covered the tunnel floor. Kael breathed heavily. "Tell me again why we came down here." Aya pointed toward a steel door near the tracks. "The survivors are behind that door." They approached carefully. Aya knocked twice. A frightened voice answered, "Who are you? Friends?" The door slowly opened. Inside were 12 survivors. Most were children. Fear filled their eyes. An old woman stepped forward. "We thought everyone above was dead." Kael knelt beside a small boy who held a broken toy robot. Not everyone. Aya looked at the exhausted faces around her. We will get you out. The old woman shook her head. You cannot leave. The tunnels are surrounded. Aya frowned. By what? The woman whispered one word. Varkor. Silence filled the room. Kael looked confused. The Emperor himself is here. The old woman nodded slowly. He came searching for something beneath the city. Aya stepped closer. What something? The woman pointed downward. An ancient gate. Aya felt cold. Her father once spoke of hidden gates beneath earth. Portals built by a forgotten civilization long before humans existed. Legends claimed the gates could control worlds. Kael crossed his arms, and Varkor wants this gate. The woman nodded. If he opens it, then Earth dies. Aya closed her eyes briefly. Then we destroy it before he reaches it. The old woman looked terrified. Nobody can stop Varkor. Aya opened her eyes. Everyone bleeds. Hours later, the group moved deeper through the tunnels. Aya led the way while Kael guarded the rear. The survivors followed quietly. Far below the city, they discovered ancient ruins hidden beneath the station. Massive stone walls stretched into darkness. Strange symbols glowed faintly across the floor. Kael stared in disbelief. This was beneath the city the whole time. Aya touched one of the glowing symbols. Older than history. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed through the chamber. Welcome, child of Earth. The survivors screamed. A giant figure stepped from the shadows. Varkor. His armor looked alive. Dark energy flowed across his body like smoke. His eyes burned crimson beneath a crown of black metal. Kael immediately raised his rifle. Do not move. Varkor laughed. Your weapon means nothing. He lifted one hand. Kael flew backward through the air and slammed into a stone pillar. Aya charged forward with her sword. Varkor blocked the strike with one armored hand. The force shattered the floor beneath them. Aya felt pain explode through her arms. Varkor studied her face. Interesting. Aya attacked again. Their battle shook the ruins. Sparks and dark energy filled the air. Varkor moved with terrifying power, yet Aya refused to fall. The survivors ran while Kael struggled back to his feet. Aya shouted without turning, "Take them away." Kael hesitated. Aya, go. Kael finally obeyed. Varkor smiled. Bravery is often mistaken for strength. Aya swung her blade toward his neck, then stopped talking. Varkor caught the sword again. This time the blade cracked. Aya stared in shock. The sword had survived wars and monsters, yet Varkor broke it with ease. He leaned closer. Your father carried this weapon against me many years ago. Aya froze. You knew my father. Varkor released the broken blade. I killed him. Rage exploded inside Aya. She attacked with bare hands and broken steel. Varkor struck her across the chamber. Aya crashed against the ruins. Pain blurred her vision. Varkor walked slowly toward her. Your world already belongs to me. Aya forced herself to stand. Not while I breathe. Varkor raised one hand to finish her. Then a gunshot echoed through the ruins. Kael returned. He fired explosive rounds directly into Varkor. The Emperor staggered backward. Kael grabbed Aya. Move. They ran through collapsing tunnels while explosions thundered behind them. The ruins began to fall apart. Dust and stone crashed from above. Aya and Kael barely escaped as the ancient chamber collapsed beneath the city. They emerged into the cold night while survivors scattered through the streets. Kael breathed hard. Please tell me he died. Aya looked toward the burning ground behind them. No, far below the earth, crimson light still glowed. Varkor lived. 3 days passed. The remaining survivors gathered inside an abandoned harbor fortress near the ocean. Resistance fighters from different nations arrived each night. Soldiers, engineers, medics, and scavengers joined together beneath one goal. Survive. Aya stood near the fortress wall while waves crashed below. Kael approached carrying 2 metal cups. Coffee. or something close to coffee. Aya accepted one cup. You still think small things matter. Kael leaned against the wall. Small things are why we fight. Aya looked across the dark sea. I failed beneath the city. Kael shook his head. You saved those people. I let Varkor escape. Kael remained silent for a moment. Nobody else could have survived against him. Aya stared into the black water. Survival is not victory. An alarm suddenly echoed across the fortress. Soldiers rushed through the corridors. Kael grabbed his rifle. That cannot be good. A commander named Ren entered the wall tower, enemy ships approaching from the north. Aya immediately stood. How many? Ren looked grim. Too many. The sky soon filled with dark aircraft. Explosions rained across the harbor. Resistance cannons fired back while sirens screamed. Aya sprinted toward the battlefield beside Kael. Robotic soldiers descended from the ships using cables and jets. The harbor became chaos. Aya fought through waves of machines while Kael covered her from elevated ruins. Fire reflected across the ocean. A giant enemy walker emerged from the smoke. Its massive legs crushed buildings beneath metal feet. Ren shouted into the radio. We cannot stop that thing. Aya looked toward the walker. Then I will. She ran directly toward the machine. Kael cursed loudly. She climbed fallen debris while energy blasts exploded around her. The walker targeted Aya with rotating cannons. She leaped across collapsing structures and reached the machine. Using her broken sword, she climbed higher while avoiding gunfire. Finally, Aya reached the cockpit. She drove the shattered blade into the control core. The walker froze. Blue energy burst from its body. Aya jumped clear as the machine exploded behind her. Resistance fighters cheered across the harbor, but their victory lasted only seconds. A shadow moved above the battlefield. Varkor descended from the sky. Silence spread through the war zone. Even the robotic soldiers stopped moving.